Hi, this is the first video from the second section in Enrich Your Application using Azure Features and Services. In this section, we will use different services within Azure like Azure SQL Database, Azure Storage, or Azure Active Directory to enrich the application with their features. Also, in this section, we will deploy our application to Azure App Service. In this video, we'll migrate the data, we'll redeploy the databases to the cloud. And we'll use for that Azure SQL Database. So our goal is to redeploy our two databases, one for the music store and one for the identity store used in our project, to Azure SQL Database. First of all, let's see what Azure SQL Database is. It's a SQL Server compatible relational database in Azure. It's not a SQL Server running in Azure, but it's rather an individual single database executed as a PaaS service or database as a service and Azure infrastructure. And you can group your Azure SQL databases in logical servers called Azure SQL servers, which can share different features like authentication or IP firewalling. Also, you can group your Azure SQL databases in elastic pools in order to manage together and share compute capacity, for example. Azure SQL Database has also many other features, has different price and service tiers, very flexible. It has business continuity features built in, like automated backups and point-in-time restore, geo-replication, and so on. There are many advanced security features, like configuring firewalls, advanced threat protection, and others. And it has a lot of built-in intelligent features, like, for example, automatic tuning and adaptation of the queries during the intelligent query optimization. So now we will see this video within the migration sequence. The first step was to migrate and transform the code, to refactor the code we had in ASP.NET, to transform it to ASP.NET Core, and we ran this code locally and tested it locally. Now we redeploy the databases to Azure and we'll execute the code locally, and we target the databases running in Azure. And the step 3 will be to move all the code and binaries to Azure and to execute everything in the cloud. These are the steps to follow. We'll create an Azure SQL Server, so the logical container. We'll configure the firewall rules in order to open the access from our application to the server. And we'll create the two Azure SQL databases. Then we'll configure the connection strings in our music store application, and then we'll execute and test our application. So in order for this to work, you need to be sure to have access from the development machine to the Azure SQL Database service. And because it uses T-SQL, so in particular TDS protocol, you'll need to have open TCP outbound connection on 1433 port. Let's see how to do this work in the project. So first of all, we need to create the logical SQL server and the two SQL databases in the cloud. I selected create a resource, SQL database. I give the parameters for the SQL database, and I will parameterize also the creation of the new logical SQL server. I will uncheck allow Azure services to access the server configuration. I won't use SQL Elastic Pool. And as for the pricing tier, I'll add the default values for the moment. 10 DTUs, 10 database transaction units, and 250 gigabytes. So I'll create this database. For the next one, which will be the identity store, I won't create a new SQL server, but I will reuse the existing one, like here. I will select the already created SQL server. Now, I've already created these two databases and the logical server. I have them here. Let's take a look at them. So for the logical server, I have here the main parameters, the main configuration. I have quick access to different features, which are configured transversally for all the SQL databases associated with this logical server. And for now, let's go to the firewall settings. So the firewall settings were already configured in order to allow my development machine to connect to the SQL databases in the cloud. This is my actual external public IP. And now let's take a look at the SQL databases. We'll select Music Store DB. And we see that it is associated with this server name, no elastic pool, with a standard pricing tier. And we have some metrics here. And of course, we have access to different advanced functionalities. And this is the space used right now. So let's see the database connection string. We'll need that in order to configure the connection string in our project. Let's go in our project and open appsettings.json. As you may see, I've already configured actually the connection strings. Both of them are already filled in. They point to the logical SQL server in the cloud and to the databases. Now let's start and run this application. So this is our application running right now locally on my development machine, but pointing to the databases stored in the cloud. We'll make a few tests, and the application works as expected. So this was about redeploying the databases in the cloud. But what about migrating the existing databases and their data specifically? We have several options. One of them is Azure Database Migration Service. It's a service within Azure proposed specifically for the migration purposes. And it relies on a database migration assistant, which runs locally and takes your database's structure and data and pushes to the cloud services, like Azure SQL database. It is very practical for avoiding too much downtime for your application, for example. Another option is to have a backpack export from your initial database and to import it on the target Azure SQL database. And another option is to use a database replication. If you have this feature used in your application, you may include Azure SQL database instance as a partner in your replication solution. At the end of the replication, you may completely switch to Azure SQL database if you wish.